So yeah, he just died in my arms right there. But enough about my weekend. How's yours?
Yeah, well, at least we got the sun again.
Yes, yeah, I've been out in the garden, bruv.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been out there, mate. Not doing too much, obviously. I mean, the garden's mum's domain. She goes out there and does all that stuff. I've just been cutting up wood.
Supervising. Oh no, doing the Joey jobs then.
Oh yes, I was being the labourer.
Oh, you've been there before, bruv. It's nothing new.
Oh well, this is it, mate.
Unfortunately, I can't really talk about too much of an interesting week because I've been fucking, at work making life-saving ventilation systems. So if people get this COVID disease, they don't die. So
yeah. So if anyone out there survives it, it's thanks to Ad.
Yeah, let me know. And
So all of you listening now who are alive, you've got Ad to thank.
Well, yeah, that's right. So don't fucking go whinging on the comments going, oh, you seemed a little bit unprepared. Yeah, I am unprepared, guys. So, it is what it is. But you've come to...
What, we professionals?
Christ, it's only our third time ever.
Yeah. Oh, well, you
may
not be prepared. But for once, Aaron is.
I
know, mate. Have you ever heard of this thing called the Fermi paradox?
Oh dear, no. I think I need to Google it.
Well, it was named after a physicist out in America called Enrico Fermi. And basically, what his thing is deal with when it comes to extraterrestrial civilizations and aliens and all that sort of stuff, is that there's a contradiction between the lack of evidence and the probability, which is obviously on our planet we have life, which then serves to say that, well, if our planet has life, then of all the planets out there, there must be other life.
Yep.
But of course, without evidence, as far as science goes, if you can't prove it, it technically doesn't exist.
Ooh.
So the big thing that he says, really what he's famous for, is if the universe is full of aliens, where are they? And that's like the whole thing. And people are like, oh yeah, but we haven't seen them. It doesn't mean they're not there. But any other science equation will say, well, that tells us that they're not there. But the fact that we're here tells us that they must be there as well. So there's the paradox.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And quite a lot of people have come forward, a lot of these aren't just your everyday YouTube comment section go, I think I figured it out with none of my qualifications. This is proper physicists and stuff like that. They've got all kinds of theories, and one of them, which I thought was worth bringing up because this is one of my personal favorite ones, is what if, because obviously we have the huge radio telescopes out in America where we're just blasting space with radio messages and who knows what else going hello and what have you. But what if we're the only civilization doing that, but other civilizations are picking them up and going, don't reply? Because you know what I mean? Because one of them was, what if there's a presence in the universe that is looking to destroy all life? So all the planets are staying completely quiet, but us being unaware of this presence are sending out transmissions, and the other aliens want to say to us, be quiet, the thing's going to hear you. But they can't say it because they don't want to get caught out. This is one of the theories. But another twist on that theory is, well, what if the lurking presence that's really dangerous in the universe is us?
Oh, shit.
I mean, I don't mean to get all political here, but I'm just dropping facts. You see our relationship with the Middle East, constantly bombing each other, and what else? These are on our own doorstep. Yeah, do you know what I mean? The other planets are they're doing this to their own planet, let alone what they're going to do to ours. So that's kind of one of the theories that are working around. But another thing about it as well.
Jeez, you're just dropping the bombs.
I've got more bombs than, people who make bombs.
God.
Yeah, mate. Not literal bombs, if anyone's fucking listening. but yeah, man. But yeah, another thing that I like about it as well, though, is that it's to say, we're assuming when we think of like alien civilizations and stuff, that these are humanoid creatures
Sure.
that are capable of doing what we do. But what people sort of forget as well is that they're like, well, if they're an advanced race, I mean, look at whenever you hear these alien stories, like I saw an alien, I was abducted by an alien, or whatever. All of these aliens, they're like little grey men with like the big black eyes, and they sort of look like people, but they're not people.
Yeah.
But that sort of imagery you have of them. I found one of my emergency joints before we came on.
Oh, excellent.
it's really good stuff.
I can tell. You're literally blowing my mind. You're like, as soon as you started talking, I'm like, okay, right, I've got to note that down, and then note that down, and then note that down. I'm like, fucking hell. So yeah, this might be a long one.
So yeah, they keep looking at things like, oh, they must be like us, but there seems to be this sort of what they call like the human ego. Like when they think of religion or anything like that, and they think of like angels, demons, God himself or herself, whichever religion it is you listen to or whatever. Because bloody India, they've got over 1 million gods, mate. And they all have names as well and actual meanings attached to them. They don't fuck around when it comes to religion.
They love a god, don't they?
They love them. They're pretty enticed. But but they're all, more often than not, they've got a human-like quality to them. And it's like, well, if something created the universe, it's got to look like us, hasn't it? I mean, we're the best. And it's always, well, man was created in God's image and all this lot. So even thinking outside the box to other planets, we're like, oh, it's just like people walking around. But look at the octopus.
Yeah, fuck.
We share a planet with the octopus, and that thing is so far different to anything. Like even other species of octopus on a cellular level, as far as biology goes, they're not even related. No. They're so different and unique to each breed of octopus. I mean, these things can adapt and change their DNA on demand to adapt to their surroundings. And each of their tentacles has a mind of its own as well. Like it can act independently from its body, essentially having 8 more brains sticking out of itself, let alone the 2 brains it's got inside its head.
How many brains do you want?
Oh, what's going on here? And one of their tentacles has a dick on it. And some of these octopus, mate, or octopi, octopuses, or octopuses, if there's a big female like womping around underneath, like, oh,
she's got that fat ass.
Yeah, spunk on me eggs. But they're looking at her and they're like, oh, fuck that. That's gonna like fucking eat me afterwards or something. They will rip off their dick arm, throw it at the female octopus, leg it, and then she'll pick it up like a fucking aquatic dildo and fertilise herself with it. They don't care. They can just grow one back. They're like, meh, I'll grow a dick later.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, but this is the stuff octopus can do, and we share a planet with them, and we're nothing like them. So why would something from a completely different planet with a completely different chain of evolution, with different environments, be anything like us? And that's the arrogance of man.
So I was going to say, why do you think that is the case then? Why do you think that we put these aliens as bipedal beings?
Like anthropomorphic. Yeah. I think a lot of it does just come down to ego. Like on a subconscious level where we're like, anything that is as good as us must be equal in some sort of way to us. They can't be our betters. That'd be ridiculous. We are the greatest. We are the best. We're the ones who put stuff out in space. We're the ones going to other planets. And like, I mean, we are alien invaders.
Yeah, sure.
Essentially. I mean, when you look at Mars, I mean, it was, 3 days ago, they got a new Mars rover, old Perseverance up there with his little helicopter Ingenuity flying around. If there is anything living on Mars, they're going to look home like, fuck, they're back again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, we are literally the alien invaders. And is there intelligent life out there? Yeah, it's us. And there's an old joke that physicists use, and it's one physicist says to another, "Do you think we're alone in the universe?" And the other physicist says, "Yes." So the first physicist then says, "So does that mean there are no other civilizations out there?" And the second physicist replies, "Oh, there are. They're just alone too."
Oh,
It's just, it was really, that's a sort of way we've got to sort of look at it. And it's like, if there are other civilizations out there, is it really any of our business?
yeah.
Because I mean, I'm a firm believer that there are other life forms out there. I mean, I was looking in the week, and because I always thought to myself, there's got to be, like, I don't know how many planets there are. I don't think anyone does, but there are people out there who have a better idea of how many there are than what I know.
Sure.
And this one geezer, him and one of his colleagues, said, let's do a mathematical formula that we take of the planets we know and of the galaxies and how many, because they can work out the average of how many planets per star there is based on its size and comparing it to ones that we can observe and whatnot. And they reckon on average, there's 100 billion trillion planets that are capable of supporting life. That's just the ones that can support life, So, I mean, there's 9 fuckers in our solar system, I think, whatever, that we think can't support life. So there's a lot of planets out there.
Jesus.
And if these are capable of supporting life, then there's no reason to say that there isn't life. Otherwise, why would there be the life supporting system? So mathematically, the odds of there being life in the universe are very, very high. Even if it's just amoebas and single cell organisms, it's still fucking life.
Yeah, that's it.
We've got places I mean, you see a lot of these things. Like, oh, you can't get life on, say, Jupiter because it's a giant, like, what they call a gas giant.
That's it.
Which is, if I remember rightly, a gas giant is also. I'm probably very wrong on this, so please, people at home, look, I'm not qualified nor sober. so you look. I think there's what's essentially known as a brown dwarf, where it essentially has the means to be a giant, to be a star, but doesn't have the correct amount of heat to ignite it. So it remains with a solid core and surrounded by the gases that are essentially what could ignite the star. And people say, oh, you can't live on that. It's totally unlivable. There's no oxygen and all that lot. However, we've got places on Earth which shouldn't support life. I mean, there's a cave in Mexico that goes right underground, but it's not even deep underground. Like, it's literally a doorway that you can walk through and you're in there. There's no oxygen in there. It's literally just sulfur in the air.
Oh.
And which also, and there's streams and like fucking ravines in there and like underground rivers, but because and lakes they got down there, but because there's no oxygen and there's only sulfur, that sulfur replaces the oxygen molecules in the water, which then essentially turns it into sulfuric acid. So there's lakes of acid underground and rivers and stuff like that. And there's bugs running around in these things that are made to, like, they're evolved to live in acid. I mean, if any other species on the planet goes inside this cave, it's going to die. It will suffocate. It will melt. It will die of heat. A million things in there could kill it off without even having to hit it with anything. It's just a very hostile environment. But there's species of animals that live in just this one cave that survive and thrive off it. And it's like, well, if they can survive in there and life, and that can support life with every volatile gas you can think of, and acid, for fuck's sake, and these, I mean, some of the life in there are these things called snotites, and they call them that because they look like stalactites or stalactites if you're from across the pond that look like they're made out of snot. They hang from the ceiling, and they're like, going back to what we were saying before, about the mushrooms and that, they're essentially funguses.
Oh, they'll be down there.
Yeah, and algae. They're on the, and because like The condensation of the sulfuric acid goes up and feeds these things. They basically breathe in the sulfur, which they use to live and whatever. And I think they pump out something else. I can't remember what it is. Another gas. But where they sweat from this, they drop their little molecules into the acid underneath them, where it lives and grows, and then becomes a part of the condensation when it heats up, which then goes up onto the ceiling, sticks again, and that's where it carries on its life cycle.
Jesus.
But the bits that get left behind, like the membrane that gets left behind, then gets eaten by a certain type of fish that lives on just that. They've got a whole sort, and then the fish are eaten by these fucking bugs that go around. But any other animal you stick in there, dead. So, and people say like, oh, you can't go to this planet. There's no life support on there. Maybe not for us.
Fucking hell! I just like while you're just chatting, then I've had a look at it's about. It's an article from National Geographic. See the ugly beauty that lives in a toxic cave.
Love National Geographic.
Yeah, man, this is what it's saying. Excuse me, it says, lurking below the quaint ski town. Oh, this is in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So I don't know if there's a couple or whatever.
Oh, there's bound to be a few, isn't there?
Yeah, and it says, well, just like you said, a cave belching with deadly gases. Its ceiling is dotted with snottites. Is it snottites?
Yeah, snottites.
Oh, yeah, snottites. Dangling blobs that look like thick mucus and drip sulfuric acid strong enough to burn holes through T-shirts. The whole place is covered in slime. And you can actually go down there and visit it if you want.
Yeah, you've got to like put on the proper like gear and stuff. I mean, we ain't talking corona masks, mate. We're talking the bollocks. We're talking the good stuff.
We're talking about dripping sulfuric acid.
Yeah, you've got to put on like those fancy like plastic overalls and shit. Oh, but like naturally, you couldn't survive in there. Oh, dead, mate.
Yeah, fucking, you'd be fucked, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. But that's one of the arguments that annoys me when they say like other planets can't support life, and it's like, well, that cave shouldn't be able to support life. But life finds a way. And also, you can't stop Mother Nature. Evolution's a bitch, mate. It will get you.
And that's only on our limitations of what we know and what we can explore as scientists and humans as well, isn't it? Just because we say, oh, you need to have oxygen to breathe. Well, no, we need oxygen to breathe. That doesn't mean life needs oxygen to breathe. And and like when we say, oh, you need water to survive. Well, just because everything we know or observe, what we consider conscious life needs water, that doesn't mean in every like exactly what you're saying. Doesn't mean that every single circumstance you need that in different planets.
Exactly. Evolution works it adapts to the environment that's around it.
Yeah.
And if there's a planet that has, like, let's say most of its atmosphere, because with us, most of our atmosphere is
nitrogen.
Yeah, nitrogen. It's like 72% nitrogen, I think.
Yeah.
But if we've got one place which is mostly like look at Mars. A lot of the atmosphere there is methane. But if their atmosphere is filled with that, there is a reason for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen by accident. There is a reason it is like that. But it also excretes oxygen on Mars as well. Not to a point where it's safe to breathe, but it is still there. And the whole point of this Perseverance mission is to try and find signs of life on Mars.
Right.
And because as far as these scientists are concerned, if there's oxygen, again, very low amounts of oxygen on Mars, something has to be producing it. And if something's producing it, something must be organic and essentially living. Now, again, they're expecting just to find like amoebas, even if they're past life, there might not be life there now, but they very well could have been. So they've got this little Percy, as I like to call him, old Perseverance, little Percy, the robot. He goes around. He's got this drill, which is also cylindrical. So when it goes into the ground, when it comes out, it's obviously got a cylinder of dirt inside the drill.
Yeah.
So that's literally a core sample. I think the plan is to go around this certain crater that used to be a lake, because where there's water, there's life. And well, if you're going to find life anywhere, it's where either water is or where water has been.
Yep.
So they're going to be drilling around trying to find these fossils of amoebas or signs of life and like years. I think they're trying to do 40. I think they said take 40 core samples from this thing, and then little Percy is going to leave them behind and be like, right, that's that done. There's your 40 samples. And then there's another mission after that to send out a drone for Percy to load these things into. Then there's another mission to go out to pick up the drone with the stuff in and then return to our orbit. And then there's another mission to collect that from orbit and bring it back to Earth.
Jesus.
So from what I've read, I think that being conservative, within the next 20 years, hopefully, we should have I mean, it'll probably be a lot quicker than that, but like I say, they're being conservative. They think they can answer the question, was there life on Mars?
God.
Which is pretty incredible, because a lot of the stuff is like, because they know there's water on Mars, because but the problem is a lot of it's underneath the surface, because it's so hot on the surface. When it does eventually come out, but it's loaded with methane, like the water, it's like liquid methane. So when it comes out, because it's so hot up there, it literally, like these rivers of like methane or methane, however you say it, literally evaporate within minutes.
Sure.
But yeah, so if they can get underneath the ground and get to it all, but that's like the exciting bit, because they're essentially as well, they can turn Mars into a petrol station.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, for like other space missions, they can like literally go down and be like, right, let's separate the hydrogen from the water and use that as a fuel for like a space station or something or whatnot. It's amazing what they can do, and I'm glad there's people who are actually smart enough in charge of doing it, and not. Could you imagine if we had like YouTube comment sections in charge of our science? We'd be fucked.
Oh, we wouldn't get anywhere, would we?
Yeah, I love it on social media. Everyone's suddenly an expert.
Yeah.
Like, I think you'll find. It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, you just argue with that physicist while you're waiting for the next car to pull up at the McDonald's drive-through, and you tell him who's boss, mate. Yeah, shut the fuck up.
But it's true though. But that's like we never say like we know, and even when we're reading off Google, we still say that might be wrong.
Yeah, mate, 100%. There's a great chance that everything I just said is complete and utter bollocks, and that I got it wrong. And there's some physicists listening now going, "This fucking idiot." Okay.
Well, if there is a physicist listening, they can come on and fucking explain it, can't they?
Yeah, exactly. Cunt.
Oh my god, dude! Honestly, I've just been trying to write down like notes as you go along to bring up points that you said, but my fucking mind is blown, man. That weed you got must be so strong.
It's
because
pretty good.
You ain't fucking stopped, man. I was like, right, okay.
It's definitely a chatty one.
Jesus, I had notes about the octopus, but just going back quick, just to confirm something, what you said, you didn't know if it was true about the gas giant. You was actually right with what you said about the core. It says there's clearly defined difference between atmosphere and surface. Gas giants do not have a well-defined surface, however, do have a core which can consist of iron and other base metals, blah, blah, blah. And it can, basically it gets denser towards the core. So while it's gas at the top, it can be then liquid state, and then in the very middle, and they're classed as, what does it say? Where does it say, Adam? Come on. Gas giants are known as failed stars.
Yeah, which are called brown dwarfs, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think that's it'd be worth having a quick check, but
let's have a look. We're not fancy like Joe Rogan with a little guy just doing the searching on the side. We haven't got our Jamie.
We haven't got a GIMP yet.
Yet.
We'll get one though.
It's failed star.
Little Thunderdome there in the corner.
Oh, here we go. Brown dwarfs. Triggers the thing. Oh my god! You know, I love science, man. I love space, but sometimes when you just try and read it, you just like, I just feel so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm constantly finding myself reading paragraphs, being like, I know what all these words mean, but in that order, I ain't got a fucking clue.
like this tiny little paragraph here, all I needed was the last sentence, but I'll just read it out to you. And this is where I'm okay. So it says, unlike main sequence stars, brown dwarfs do not acquire enough mass to trigger sustained nuclear fusion of ordinary hydrogen into helium in their cores. Okay, I don't even know what that means. And then it says, for this reason, brown dwarfs are sometimes referred to as foul stars. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. So, well, what bit do you want to go
Well,
over?
Warwick Davis is a successful film star, and he's a white dwarf.
Fucking
Now I think about it. Oh no, there's that guy from Bad Santa. He's a brown dwarf, and he's a star. I can't remember his name. So is he a star? He's popular. Don't know if he's a star though.
Bad Santa.
Yeah, did you ever see that film? It's so
Oh,
funny.
I don't fucking remember.
So good. Oh, Billy Bob Thornton. They play the like safe crackers, but they every year they go to a mall and they do the whole sort of Santa and his little elf shtick. And then when it closes at night, they break in and they like rob the safe. It's like their thing to do. But he's like a proper full-on alcoholic and stuff. It's so funny.
Is it?
Yeah, every year I watch it at Christmas. It's like my go-to Christmas movie. That, Die Hard, and Gremlins, and The Muppets Christmas Carol.
Tony Cox is the little
Tony
dwarf.
Cox, that's his name.
Jesus Christ. See, this is what I mean. Like we started off on octopus and fucking planets, and now we're talking about Tony Cox.
Flying dick arms.
Oh, dude. So
Insane.
well, okay. So what do we reckon then? So on that premise that you started off with, that we're either, you know, where is everyone? Are
Well,
we
the old
you know,
famous, quite a famous quote by the science fiction novelist Arthur C. Clarke was two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not, and both are equally as terrifying.
Yeah, man, I agree with that.
Yeah. And well, you know, I mean, it's a thing that gets thrown around quite a lot, but it's not just the octopus either that we share the thing with. I mean, look at anything: the praying mantis, jellyfish, shark, mosquito, all this stuff. I mean, compared to our fabric, like DNA fabric, they're completely fucking like alien to us.
Yeah.
But we're sharing the place with them. I mean, again, look at mushrooms. Like we were saying before. I mean, are they classed as intelligent life? I mean, when you see all they can do and what they're capable of, and for those who didn't hear us last week, we haven't got around to it yet. One, where have you been? And two, is we talked about this type of fungus that can the spores travel in the air and they attach themselves to something like a tarantula, and then they basically drill in themselves into the tarantula's brain, take over it like a driver or a pilot, and control the spider, and they make it climb to the top of the highest tree they can find so they can get closer to the sunlight and everything, and they just wait for it to starve to death and then grow on the carcass of the spider. Well, it turns out, I was talking to a scientist friend of mine,
Oh.
and he was talking about that type of fungus is called a cordyceps. And I'm pretty sure cordyceps is a name of a brutal slamming death metal band as well.
If not, it should be.
It absolutely should be. But apparently there are 600 species of cordyceps, and each one goes after a different live host.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. And so I went down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I started looking into those what we were talking about, that giant mushroom that lives underneath the ground,
Yep.
which is up to 2.4 miles, isn't it?
Yep.
In diameter over in Oregon. Is it the Blue Mountains?
Yeah, that sounds.
It was called. It was like that, wasn't it? Like, it's probably wrong. I mean, I'll quickly double check. But yeah, I think it was the Blue Mountains in Oregon.
Yeah, Blue Mountains in Oregon.
Yeah, cool.
The same fucking word I couldn't say last week. Armillaria, solid pipes or solid pipes
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
And these, And what these are, they're a part of what they call the mycellular
That's it.
fungus. Yeah, which is basically and what and the name they've got for it, but when it goes out like, all through like the woods and stuff. But there's also a symbiotic relationship between them and trees as well, because
Hang on,
a lot
what does symbiotic mean? I'm
yeah,
having a big day.
symbiotic is where two different species work together for the same goal. Like we have a symbiotic relationship with honey guides, a type of bird.
Right.
They will look at you and they'll see you coming and they'll start whistling. And then if you whistle back to them as an answer to know, right, I'm participating, they will lead you from one tree to another, and they'll wait for you each time to catch up, and they will keep going, and then they'll eventually land on top of a tree and start going like whoop, 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 like an alarm that's like, there's a beehive underneath here. Get it, get it, get it. So, and because the birds can't get in there because of all the bees, I mean, they'll get stung to death. They wait for like people to come along so we can go up there, smoke the bees out, get the honey, and then he can get what's left afterwards. So he lets us know where the honey is, we get honey, and then from that he gets to eat as much of the hive afterwards as he wants to with all the honey bits inside. That's a symbiotic relationship. The two separate species working completely together. Like some like other ones as well. Like some of these mushrooms, they will sit there and they'll be like a certain time of the year, it'll become like it will turn itself the same color as a type of berry or something, and then an animal will come over. Oh, I'll eat that. Eats it and then goes completely brain dead. And it's like it loses all cognitive ability, which means when it sees another predator, it'll be like, look at that massive cat, and not run off. Then of course the massive cat eats that because it didn't run off. But little does it know, it's just been poisoned by a mushroom it's eaten. That dies, and then the fungus grows from the cadaver. That's another symbiotic relationship. Though that one's a bit more selfish because ultimately the other one dies.
Yeah.
But it gets a last meal out of it. But yeah, there's a symbiotic relationship between mushrooms and trees because obviously mushrooms breathe in carbon dioxide. No, sorry, they breathe, yes, but they breathe in like the carbon and what have you and whatnot. But they also send some of it to the trees to have, like as a preserve, like, oh, here you go, have some of this carbon that you need to live. And in return, the tree might give it a nutrient that it needs, like nitrogen or something.
Right.
So they swap around. And when it's a relationship like that becomes like locked in, it will then start this mycellular thing that goes throughout the woods, and it just shares information all across. And like one end of the mycellular mat might be like, here, there's more life over here, and then it will grow further that way, sharing information. But also that information goes to the other trees and stuff like that, and it can just make. And they call it the Wood Wide Web, which is awesome because it works essentially the same as the internet.
Fuck.
And it just sends electrical pulses back and forth as sharing information that we can't read. It's a completely different language that we can't even fucking suss. But they find a way to talk to one another. And it's amazing to the point that there's even been research that has shown that once a certain berry tree gets this type of information come in, it can then embed that information into the berries that it grows. So when birds eat it, they then absorb this information and then will shit out the berries in a particular area because the trees know that's where the good soil is. The mushrooms told me, and it will help, and it will shit in this area, not even knowing why, just instinctively doing it. So then it can plant the seed in this area where the soil is more rich, all through the mycellular Wood Wide Web communication between funguses and trees. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Wow.
Yeah, but you see it all the time, like even in between like sharks and certain fish. They will work together. Like if there's because some fish like to get right into the but even with seagulls, they like to get right into the shallows because they'll sit there and go, oh well, the sharks can't get us because we're in the shallows. But then the seagulls will be there and be like, oh well, seeing as you brought the fish over to us until they show us where we can get them. We will eat our share and then drive them out towards you to run away so you can eat them. It happens everywhere, man. There's so many different ways, but it's just crazy.
Do you know what I mean? I've just had a look, and I think I would recommend that everyone that's listening this week, without a doubt, you need to go back to probably the beginning and just pause and type down some of the things that you've just said, like, and research them, and just have a quick look, man, because this is blowing my fucking mind. I typed in honey guide, that's what it's called, wasn't it? The birds that chase. I've typed in honey guys, and I thought, oh, I'll read that while you're finishing up or going on to the next topic, just to see, and it's absolutely fascinating. Like it says here, where was it? Honey guys, guiding humans to bee colonies. And once the hive's open, the honey's taken out, which the humans have, and the birds feed on the remaining larvae and wax. And it's like, what? And there's a whole wiki page and more info about it. Yeah, man. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to keep up today. I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's
I've been down these rabbit holes, mate. I haven't seen any rabbits.
Thank God. Imagine the type of rabbit you'd find down there.
Oh, mate, with the fucking tentacles and fucking bug eyes and wings and who knows what else. Fucking acid sacs to fucking melt its prey and drink it.
But like saying this, man, like we're looking at, I hope there's life on other planets, and let's look at life on other planets. Like, I mean, an octopus would throw its penis at another lady octopus, and she'll use it as a, underwater dildo.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And I've just read somewhere else
walking in on that on a David Attenborough. Just look over a rock and there's an octopus fucking itself.
Proper go into town on it.
It's giving me full on eye contact.
Oh, yeah. And I've read as well with the octopus, if they get bored, like if you put them in captivity and they get bored, they'll just eat one of their arms for no reason. Oh, they just eat what the fuck? And we're worrying about aliens on other planets, man. We've got enough aliens on this planet we got to sort out. We got to figure out, man.
Yeah, man. Have you seen videos of those octopuses? They give them like really tight jars and like bottles, like the plastic like cola bottles or something. You've got to twist it and snap the plastic and stuff like that, and like wine bottles and things like that. They give them to octopuses, and they've got so much grip in their tentacles they can open this stuff up, and they could even separate like those really thin Lego bricks that are together, the ones that were always impossible to separate, like the ones that were like they only had like the two squares. You got two of them stuck together. They can do all that, mate. The strength they have, and these things have got like no bones or like muscles as such. They're literally just fucking blobby flesh going around. They've got incredible strength. I mean, some of them they can squeeze, they can break a human forearm. Like just wrapping around it and just gripping as hard as they can. All 8 tentacles are squeezing, and those 2 bones in the forearm just go click in the middle. They can do that shit.
Fucking yeah. And can't they, like, I know you said they got 2 brains in their head and they got brains everywhere, but I remember once that there's a video on YouTube. I mean, I'm not going to search it because I'll probably end up crashing my laptop, but I'm sure there's a video, and there's like an octopus on a boat, and it's like sliding off down this tiny hole, and this hole must be 2 inches wide.
Oh, and yeah, they're mental.
And it just like goes like to liquid and liquefies itself through the hole, so it's off the boat. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Yeah,
they can squeeze themselves inside wine bottles. There's like photos of them inside jars and like bottles and stuff like that. They just wrap themselves and squeeze in. It's just absolutely mad. I mean, if I just have a look at one now, I mean, yeah, you go to like Google Images. There's a video of an octopus called The Octopus and the Beer Bottle. I mean, if I hit this bad boy, I mean, let's have a look. I mean, there's literally a fucking beer bottle with an octopus inside it.
I'm just searching for it now, so everyone at home, if you're not doing something, you can just go. It's only 50 seconds long, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it's not long at all.
Right, let's have
but it's pretty insane, though.
It looks like he's trying to pop out. Okay. Oh shit. Yeah. Whoa. What the fuck? Yeah. I'll definitely recommend giving that a go. They changed fucking colour as well.
Yeah, that's their them changing their DNA on demand. It's like some of them, like when they go still and go to sleep, so that they're safer. They'll make their skin go really, really hard and really lumpy, so they look like a coral reef or something like that, like to disguise themselves and just completely change their color. That's them, like essentially just changing and adapting their DNA on demand. Which, as far as we know, I don't think there's like many other species that can actually do that.
I think, off the top of my head, I don't know how similar they are, but I mean that sounds similar to the cuttlefish as well, because they can do some crazy shit.
Yeah, they're mental, they are. And it wasn't that long ago that I realised that cuttlefish, well, when you think of fish, you think of, well, that fucking fish, don't you? But then you look at a cuttlefish and you're like, what the hell are you?
Yeah,
It's like you're like a weird squid snail monster.
yeah, they are some weird looking motherfuckers, aren't they?
Yeah, mate. You some of these like science fiction like writers and stuff, they're all like, oh look at, oh I'm trying to design an alien. It's like, mate, just look at what we've got under the sea and use
Yeah.
one of them. Do you know what I mean? I mean, bloody hell. My same scientist friend, shout out to my boy Lee, was showing me the other day these types of centipedes, and they're over a foot long, and they hang from the ceilings of caves, and they wait for bats to fly past, and they catch bats mid-air and fucking eat them. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a science fiction monster right there, isn't it? And that's a real thing, bumbling about. Oh, I can't remember what they're called now. It's right here. I have got it somewhere. Don't panic, people. Aaron's on the case. You haven't got to panic when we're here. But yeah, but it just goes. It doesn't even like bother with anything else that's in the cave that it can eat. It's literally like I don't give a fuck about that stuff, like little other bugs and stuff. It's like no, I'll just hang from the ceiling, wait for a bat to fly past, and just catch the bastard and eat it.
That's
Like,
so. Oh,
how do they even figure out like were they just hungry on the floor and were just like, you know what, sod this, I want to eat one of them flying things, whatever the hell it is.
yeah, and that's what I mean, man. Like going back to about the whole life on other planets and crap like that. Sorry, when it comes to the I can't think of the word, but when the stereotypical image of what you get when you think of an alien, you think of a grey body, pale,
Yeah, the old alien
no,
greys.
yeah, that's it, no hair, weird head, and that, and it's like. I believe truly that we would have manifested that and created that image, like you say, because of our own complex, and God, I can't speak today, but yeah, like
Our ego.
that's it. Well done. Fuck
Yeah.
me, I'm sitting there looking out the window. I don't know what the bin men are going to help me with, but I'm like, come on, fucking think of the word. And I think we just limited ourselves so much by that, because some of these aliens underwater and the mushroom shit, there's going to be life out there, man, but it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be what everyone thinks it
Nah,
is.
and I don't buy into the UFO thing, like the flying saucer, intergalactic space travel, because I think if something is that far advanced, what the fuck are they doing wasting their time with us? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we can go anywhere in the galaxy. We can do anything we want. What should we do? Well, let's go to Earth and go really blurry whenever someone gets their camera out.
The thing is, dude, I really want to believe in it. I really
Oh,
want
mate,
it
I
to,
would
you
love
know.
for there to be flying saucers.
I think it's fascinating. I really want to, obviously, like when podcasts like Bob Lazar, and people like that, and they tell their stories, and Commander David Fravor, the flight pilot. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
because you went down a bit of a Bob Lazar rabbit hole yourself, didn't you?
yeah.
Where do you stand on this story?
I'm, to be honest, dude, it fucks me up. And just so everyone, I'll give you the brief description, because I mean, there's a Joe Rogan episode that's like 3 hours long on it. Bob Lazar,
Yeah,
Bob
there's a
Lazar.
couple of documentaries as well on Netflix as well, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. That's on Netflix.
Yeah,
And it's basically a geezer called Bob Lazar. He come out. in the 80s, I think it was, and said that he worked in an area called S4, which later turned out to be Area 51. And he said he worked on spacecraft and he's back engineering the propulsion system for craft, basically. But like with everything, there's not any physical, concrete evidence. But I can't help but think he does sound genuine. He does sound.
That's the thing. I find that a lot of time as well. Like a lot of time you can sit there and be like, that centipede, for anyone who's wondering, is called a scolopendra. And but yeah, and you see some of these people, you hear them talk, and you think they look genuine and they sound genuine. And for me, sometimes that is a big deal, because a lot of time you can just tell when someone's being disingenuous. Like sometimes they'll overdo it and be like, and it's like, all right, mate, reel it back. But at the same time, is it a story that he's told so many times over and over and over again that he knows where the cues are, he knows how to feel on certain bits, or has it got to the point where he believes it himself, or is he telling the truth? You never know. But one of the big things you hear about a lot of these, like, I've seen a few like debates about Bob Lazar, and I personally, I believe he worked on some crazy shit. I don't think it was alien technology. I think it was government technology, and the way his brain registered it was to say it's got to be alien because of how advanced it is. I don't know. There are psychologists much more qualified than I am to make said judgments, but yeah, I mean, I fully believe he worked at S4 and Area 51. I believe he worked on all of these things, but a part of me also thinks, was there loads of staff there were like, oh, tell that new Bob bloke that it's alien stuff, see how long he buys into it for.
Yeah, that's it.
We never know. But at the same time, when people sit there and like a lot of people who would come forward who are very sided with him, like, no, he's telling the truth 100%. You always hear the thing like, yeah, but what's he got to earn by lying about it? It's like, look at his career.
Yeah.
He's made a career talking about alien technology he worked on. He's pretty famous for it. That's a good reason to lie. But at the same time, like you say, some of the stuff he says in the stories, the way he talks about it, people who were there at the time, stuff that was going on, like there was, I think it was him. He made like a stupidly fast car to go to work in.
It's a rocket-powered Toyota, I think it was. He put a jet engine in his car.
That's right, yeah. And then he was in the local paper, like a local celebrity, that geezer with the stupid car.
That's it.
Yeah, but that as well sort of works towards the testament of, does this guy just like attention?
Yeah, maybe he's obviously a clever bastard, isn't he? Because he
100%. And I totally believe him that he's worked at Area 51. No doubt about it. Like we said before, I mean, I don't know what the bloody interior of the place looks like. I'm never going to know. And anyone can talk about what it looks like, because if there's no one to argue it, then you can say it looks like anything, whatever you want. But it's people work at Area 51. Why not him?
That's right. That's right, man. And the thing is, like you say, if he wants to say, oh, this is what the canteen looks like, this is what the corridor looks like, this is how we arrived there is not one person who genuinely works for Area 51 who says that is incorrect, because no one will do it. Anyone who is working there is obviously sworn to secrecy, classified information, so they're not saying it. So why can't it be true? In terms of that he did work at Area 51, S4, whatever. Yeah, I get that. But like, the more I researched it last week or the week before, when I had time, was that the government were also doing like drone tests and plasma tests, where they were shooting beams of plasma in the air, and they would go up like lights and then move as they got higher Earth orbit. They would like move and like dance across the sky, which could look like a UFO. So when
people have sighted over Area 51 saying, oh, we've seen what they call orbs moving around and stuff, it's actually drone tests and who knows what else.
Yeah, but equally, where do we draw the line of alien technology? Because if it's something that we don't understand and know, that's alien to us. So that's probably why he can pass the lie detector tests and things, because it is genuinely was alien to him at the time. If you're looking at a big flying disc with a fucking plasma cannon on it, and they say, "Oh yeah, this is alien technology," you're like, "Yeah, it fucking is."
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
So yeah, it's
But there's a lot of stuff as well that's got to be taken into account too. Like when he talks about going into one of the crafts and he says like everything in there was like a perfect white, like minimalist sort of thing. Everything was done in sort of like for lack of a better word, the furniture layout was done more in sort of layers and like
yeah,
cubes, but there were no seams anywhere or anything like that. And it's like, wasn't there? Because you have to remember as well, the way your brain works with memory is that if you remember something, because he could just be remembering it.
yeah,
He could be there and be like, oh yeah, there were no seams or anything, there was no buttons as such, there was nothing there that it's like, or you didn't see them.
yeah,
And your brain then tells you, I didn't see them, therefore they weren't there, therefore it is something I don't recognize, therefore it's alien. And it's like, or if you looked in the other room, there might have been everything you were looking for there, but because you don't remember it that way, your brain tells you that's how it was. 100%, that is set in stone, that is what it was. And it's like, but human memory, in the grand scheme of things, is shit.
and we're really terribly easily suggestible as well. So I mean,
Oh,
if
so suggestible.
and like Bob Lazar could be in there, and he could be, you know, having a look inside that spaceship, whatever, and he could tell someone else and say, "Oh yeah, it was, you know, it was all grey or it was all white and it was really smooth," and then it could just be someone saying, "Oh, was it like it was, you know, 3D printed then? Was it like no seams on it?" And then he's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what it was like." And then
Yeah.
from then on, that's it. It was no seams. So it might have been a scene that's been, you know, whatever. But yeah, I mean,
It's an entirely different thing, you know, and it's the same that they think about like some of the old like myths and legends, like for instance the Kraken,
mm,
which is obviously the giant octopus which attacks like boats and stuff.
mm,
Now there are some around the sort of like I believe it's like the Netherlands, around that sort of ocean, like between England and there, you can get some pretty gnarly squid and octopus, like big fuckers, especially up towards like around Iceland and those sort of areas. Now, someone traveling on a boat back then, and these huge tentacles coming out the water, they're going to look at it in panic, like, what the fuck is that? They haven't got Discovery Channel.
yeah,
You
sure,
know what I mean? This is their first time finding out something like this even exists. And they didn't read about it. They saw it come out of the water at them. And they're like, what the hell is that thing? And then they're like, mate, it was at least fucking 10 feet across. And then someone else is like, mate, this thing was easily 14 feet across. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, that's
And then
it.
another one's like, oh, mate, it came out. It was huge. I'm talking 30 feet across, maybe. Massive, this thing. And then another one will be like, it was big enough to sink a ship. Easy.
Yeah,
You know, and that's where these things come from. And they think that the Kraken, especially when it comes to like the old like Viking pirates and some of the British and German fleets that would go out and see these things, they were just seeing a colossal squid. But of course, myth gets around and they haven't got the resources to compare it to and whatever, so it becomes giant sea monster.
yeah,
And this happens all the time, and it's like there's a theory that goes around of maybe where dragons came from. Did ancient civilizations out trying to make their digging to make the foundations of their civilizations and castles and stuff? Did they find dinosaur bones or fossils and were like the size of this fucking lizard?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And is that where the myth of dragons comes from?
Jesus Christ.
There's all kinds of things like that. But this is the same thing. We see something, we take what little information we have, and then we add the rest to make it make sense.
Yeah, that's it.
And is that all Bob Lazar has done? I mean, I hope not. I hope he's right, and I hope there is fancy ass alien UFOs, and I hope they have got like a little alien like Paul in that movie with Simon Pegg walking around just shooting the shit with the scientists.
Yeah,
You know, I think it'd be brilliant. I'd like it if he turned up and like half of their staff were aliens,
yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, we've got Area 50 is on bloody Titan, Area 49's on bloody Eden." It's like, yeah, all of these places have their own area. You know, this just happens to be Area 51. There's a couple more thousand you lot don't know about.
You wait to see what we got up here.
Yeah. You wait till you go over to bloody CERN by bloody Neptune, see what they've got going on. Ooh, man. Anything's possible.
But it really is, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
It is, and I think when it comes to like talking about life and other civilization, because I've got a weird, unhealthy obsession with evolution, like biology. And when it comes to sort of think about other planets, I think that's what we've got to look at more. Is okay, what is, like we said earlier about like environments that certain things can live in? We can be like, right, what is the environment on that planet that we know? Like there's any sort of, I mean, I don't know them myself. Like I said, there's people way more qualified than me that can tell you this. But you find some planets, and you think, right, most of its atmosphere is, we'll say sulfur.
Yeah.
So that rules us out. Nothing like us up there. Mammals ain't gonna last. They're not even gonna have a start. But what we do know that can survive in sulfur environments, like we saw in that cave earlier, is things like the snotites, those little fish that eat the snotite like membranes that fall into the water, the insects that eat them, as well. So there's that we can see from, like, there's a good start of what that evolution is going to look like. It probably start off as algae, like most things do, single cell. But if we can look at what the rest of the environment's like, they can be like, right, but this place also has mountains. Okay, so what lives on a mountain, and what can breathe this stuff? Is there a fungus even higher up that mountain? And this is the way we've got to look at it. When people listen, they go, "Oh, alien civilizations. Oh no, they would have contacted us by now." Why would they? You're just assuming that because that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, these big UFO believers, and I don't blame them. Believe whatever the hell you want, and show me good evidence, and I'll back it up with you. But they need to get out of the mindset of, yeah, but they would do this, they would do that. It's like, you don't know they would do that. You're just making that up. Like when you watch Ancient Aliens, and I can't remember his full name, Giorgio Tisticalis. I can't remember his name. Great bloke. But there's a lot of conjecture there, and there is in science anyway. There's always going to be conjecture and speculation. But he would talk about like ancient civilizations when they first started writing, talked about beings from the sky, and he was saying, but if you've only just started writing, you wouldn't write down lies. It's like, well, why wouldn't you? All because you wouldn't doesn't mean nobody else would. And not being funny either, we've been telling fictional stories since the dawn of time. Why wouldn't we write fiction?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that amazing story we've all been telling around the bonfire for hundreds of years. We can write down. We can actually record it. So if other people find it, they can tell it too. That's what fiction is. That's the whole point. It's to entertain and give. I think it's so to sit there and say, oh, but they wouldn't do that. It's like, you don't know they wouldn't do that. And that's what they're doing with alien civilizations as well. They'll sit there saying, oh yeah, but why haven't they contacted us? It's like, who's to say they would?
Yeah.
They might have better things to do. There might even be just a huge planet somewhere that's got more life than anywhere else in the galaxy. But because it's so big and there's so much gravity, they could just be little blobs. Like it could just be an entire planet with different species of slug.
Yep.
That are going around doing their sluggy stuff. And I thought, they don't even have the concept of other life, so they've got no reason to go outside of that norm. Because a lot of these things, with most species, I mean, if you throw our species to one side, we can say every species, their main goal is to survive.
Yep.
To do what it is that nature set out from. We are the anomaly. I mean, shit, we could go down that rabbit hole saying, are we aliens that were put here millions of years ago as an experiment to see how we would get on in nature and see what we would do to it and see if we would eventually turn to technology the way our ancestors did on another planet. And we've done it. And what are we doing with that technology? Our big goal is to go to other planets.
That's it.
Are we just repeating a cycle that was done by other alien civilizations? It's the same with octopuses. I mean,
Jesus.
there's theories there, and these are theories from actual microbiologists and theoretical physicists. Is it possible that the bacteria or amoebas or single cell organisms were inside a asteroid which crashed into our ocean, broke open, set billions of these single cell amoebas into our ocean, which eventually evolved into octopus. Because they're so different to us, like and every other species that we know of, like they are themselves a complete anomaly to Mother Nature. Yet here they are. You know what I mean?
I've heard that. Hang on, I'm sure I saw somewhere that it said, "Do octopus come from outer space?" And it's let's have a look. See if I can get a half reliable source up. See if I can read some.
I mean, maybe the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs had bacteria and amoebas in it that eventually became people.
Oh, Jesus.
And we're from that other planet that had the original life forms on it. Maybe it broke up and it got hit by a massive meteorite, broke up, became other meteorites, and just fucking smashed all over the place. Who knows? Any of these things are completely plausible. And this isn't just me saying it either. Like I said, this is like people who have like initials in their name and shit.
Yeah, the fancy people.
Yeah, the ones who've got that Google money.
That's what we've been chasing all these weeks.
Yes. It's been my 3-week long dream to get that Google money.
And still nothing.
Yeah. I'm trying to be carbon neutral over here. Chuckers, your money's Google.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Damn.
Damn. Fuck. Excuse me. Let's just read this. Okay, so researchers proposed 2 ideas. There's the idea that alien viruses crashed to Earth in a meteor, infected a population of primitive squid, and caused them to evolve into octopuses. That's the first theory.
Fit.
The other theory they suggest is that a fertilized squid or octopus eggs were delivered to Earth by a meteor. So there was already fertilized eggs on a meteor.
Insane.
What the fuck is going on? This is too fucking intense for me.
But like I say, these are the people that, like, you know, they look into this stuff for a living and are given certificates and awards for looking this shit up. This isn't just a couple of stoners talking bollocks. Well, it is. But at the same time, you know, we've got the fancy people backing us up.
That's it, Mark Carnell from the Oxford University.
Well, Oxford, mate. They don't hire just anybody.
Well, sure.
Guarantee you now, if I apply for an Oxford job right now, I can guarantee you I'll get turned down.
That's it. As would I.
Yeah. Even if we both went in there as a team and said, think of us with combined brain power, they'd be like, nah, sorry.
No,
ain't happening.
Nah, you're all right, boys.
Yeah.
Next one. Next. Well, I don't know what I can add. Possibly, that's more interesting than those today. That is some crazy stuff.
And I've been known to drop a good one every now and then. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, sure you ain't. Oh, fucking hell. So yeah, I mean, well, on that note, I mean, I can't really have any summarising points. Like to go, oh yeah, so yeah, all I would suggest for people listening is just go pause the podcast and have a look on some of the stuff that you said, because
use our good friends at Google.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, if you want to drop a line to Google and say, you know, we told you to go there, that'd be awesome. So we can you know, get some of that Google money. But
yeah, that's it. Get them in on and tell them about our carbon neutral idea. You know, Tales from the Animal Kingdom wants to go completely carbon neutral.
That's right.
They can't really turn us down then, can they? Because that's the big thing at the moment. Everyone's like, slow down the carbon. And we're like, we will. Just give us that Google money. We can do it. And it's like, you've got us in a stalemate here.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't help us, we can't stop, can we?
Yeah, and then you're contributing. You're making the pollution. You could have stopped it, but you didn't.
All these things are dying because of you now, Google. I mean, we're trying to, you know,
just pay for our weed. All right. That's all we're asking.
We don't ask for a lot. Every week we bring up Google. Every week we're talking about carbon neutral. We're trying to help their agenda. They got to help ours.
Absolutely.
You know.
I mean, our agenda's pretty simple.
Yeah, the whole idea of this podcast is pretty simple.
Yeah. Just turn up and be like, yeah, get a load of this. Done.
Oh, this is interesting. Reel off. Done. Thank you very much. Next week. See you later.
Yeah, so that's all we do. That's all we need to do.
Well, like you said at the end of last week, it just gets people's mind off the shit for an hour
It does. And
because it is.
I just looked at this fucking centipede called the Peruvian giant.
Oh, have you found something else just as I was trying to close off?
I'm just looking at a huge bloody yellow and black centipede that looks absolutely gnarly.
Oh, go on then. What's it called? We'll have one last Google.
Yeah, it's called the Peruvian giant centipede.
Oh, they're not very ingenious there, is it?
Yeah, they could have. Oh, yeah, it is the it's a type of scolopendra, like the bat eaters. Yeah, up to 13 inches this bad boy can grow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 35 centimeters. Woohoo!
That is fucking ugly.
Yeah, mate, they will mess you up. Bloody, when my mum used to live in Gibraltar, there was they used to get centipedes all the time. That's when my brother was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they would all, they had this, in a garrison over there when the old man was stationed over there in one of the barracks during his army stint.
Hmm.
And yeah, they said they used to get centipedes in there, like someone trying to get into the cot and stuff.
Are they poisonous or is it millipedes? I'm sure one of them is poisonous, isn't it?
I'm sure you can get one from both that are probably poisonous. I mean, I know these scolopendra, they've got like poison and venom. They bite the bats, which kills them instantly, thankfully.
Oof.
And then they eat the bastards. I mean, can you imagine being eaten by alive, like by a centipede of all things? It's like I'm being eaten by a nightmare. Screw that.
And especially to a bat, because a bat's pretty cool anyway, isn't it? You know, it's like a
They're
flying
hamsters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Bats are mental. Have you seen bats getting fed where they get wrapped in little blankets and they give them a dummy and stuff?
No.
Oh, right. People out there, to end on a high note, Google bats in blankets. It is amazing. That will make your day. And then if you find it, share it to your timeline on your social media and let everybody have a look at some bats in blankets because it will just make their Sundays.
They call them bat burritos when they wrap them in blankets. Oh, for fuck's sake! Look at that. Oh, they are quite sweet though.
They are. I think bats get a bad rap. They are well cute. You look, it is a flying hamster.
Oh, maybe.
And some of them have got little dummies in their mouth or pacifiers if you're
that way inclined. That way inclined.
Yes.
Anyway. Oh, I might do a bit on bats. I might do some research for next week, and we'll do a little bit on bats. I think because they're pretty cool.
Gotta be done, my friend. They are pretty wicked. Oh, they've no idea what they're doing. People are just taking pictures of them in blankets, and they're like, "The fuck is this? Come on, guys."
I should be flying around and doing shit.
Yeah, what's this nonsense? Are they going to kill us?
Oh, who knows? Well, on that note, I did have something interesting, but I'm going to bring it up next week now, so everyone can look forward to the dancing plague of 1518 next week.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going on a bit of a weird one. You know, where you've seemed to have really done your research, I've just kind of just grabbed the weirdest things that I could find. So I think, yeah, I'll delight everyone with that next week.
Sounds fascinating to me, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, that's it, boys and girls. Once again. So, see you later.
Deuces.
Deuces. Laters, taters.
In a bit.